So look, I did promise I would be with Stuart Scott today. You will get some background noise. So look, we're here in Hove. Stuart, do you want to explain to the listeners? So I'm with Stuart Scott of Co-Living Spaces.
Yeah.
So do you want to explain to the listeners where we are in Hove and what this property is?
Yeah, this is we're right in the heart of Hove. So we're only a couple of roads from the Hove train station, a few roads from the beach. So we're in a great central location. Most of the stuff I do is for working professionals, so everything has to be well located. A student, if you're a student, you'd be further on the outskirts, but for me it has to be location.
For those of you who don't know, Stuart, of course, is speaking at the summit 19th of January 2019. So Stuart's speaking on brand and why brand is important. Stuart, your projects are not just these type of co-living, there's also hotels as well.
Yeah, so we apply the same principles though. So the work that we're doing in co-living spaces is very much a design-led product. The work that we've done in our chain of hotels is a design-led product. So a lot of the stuff that we're going to be speaking about on the summit is about how I've used brand and marketing and positioning to kind of elevate and drive the two companies.
So would you say it's easier in terms of marketing the hotel rather than these particular spaces? Because with the hotels, it's a totally different audience. It's easier to reach through media because your hotel in Brighton's been featured in, I think you said the Times, the Telegraph,
Food and Travel, yeah, and Living, etc. But equally, my co-living spaces have been featured in a lot of the main magazines as well. So the same principles.
What magazines?
Esquire, Telegraph. A whole lot of local magazines, a few other national ones, but they've got the similar exposure. Now the hotel has had more of a PR push on it, whereas my co-living spaces was organic. It was organic.
Yeah, I have to admit I didn't realise it was so widespread in terms of your co-living spaces. But your hotel, for example, got in a particular period of time as well. So look, I've been to a number of your developments.
Yep.
One thing I know you love is your own crafted beds, but it's
right. That's one element.
One element of it.
One element of it. Well, that was only out that we have.
But it's the hand on heart. It's the first developer I've ever been to. First site where I've ever seen anyone go to that detailed level.
Well, that was in a co-living space. We were designing rooms that were. We always have a mixture of rooms. Some are larger, 15, 20 square meters. Some are in the kind of sub 10 square meters. Sub 10 square meters, you can't have, you lose 10 centimetres, you've lost the option of having a wardrobe or storage or anything, so you have to design every centimetre. So in those instances where we've got very small rooms where we have to make micro living really well designed, we have to, in some instances, hand bespoke the beds into the space. So one of the ones I showed you downstairs, that's going to be a hand-built bed, but the other ones don't need to be hand-built. So it's really about optimising the space.
So we're here in Hove. Now, what's the future of co-living for you personally?
A lot of the work we're doing at the moment is about expanding further across Brighton and Hove. I've got a portfolio in Eastbourne as well as the stuff I do in Hove and Brighton. But I've grown up in Brighton and Hove, so I love the city, and frankly it needs a lot of disruption given a lot of low quality stuff that's here. So a lot of focus is really around what we're doing.
And when you say putting a high quality, and one thing you're doing is the glazing. It's not just a normal double glaze in this particular property. It's
it's very much. We're doing refurbs from the ground up, which means we need to be thinking about the fabric of the building. Before you can even think about the brand and the product, everything that's going in there, you've got the remedial works, you've got the exterior, you've got the glazing, you've got the damp proofing works. These are just the kind of like the basics that need to be there, and you can cut corners if you want, or you can go for longevity. I prefer to go for longevity and go for durability.
So when you come to a project like this, in terms of brand, what do you think of, and in terms of the listeners for the summit as well, what will you be sharing which they can learn from you on Saturday 19th of January? The event takes place in London, easy venue to get to, whether you're coming from Brighton or whether for you it's just straightforward on the Thames Link up to Blackfriars. There's very straightforward venue to get to, or whether you're coming from the north, whether you're flying into Luton or Gatwick as well, whether you're coming from overseas. Very easy venue to get to. But in terms of what people go and pick up from you on that 19th of January, Stuart.
Yeah, so I'm going to be talking about brand and positioning, but I'm going to be sharing a kind of a method that I use, which is called the brand ecosystem. So it's how I kind of apply a brand ecosystem to both the hotel side and also to the co-living side. That's given me exposure, that's given me PR, that's led to awards, everything else, and everything in between. So we're building.
And in terms of awards, you're nominated. Can I say nominated for an award, which is tomorrow? Well, it depends when you're listening to the video, but it's the Property Investors Awards. You're nominated for 2 awards, in fact.
Yeah, that's.
Maybe I should come back next week when you're.
Yeah, you know. Yeah, no, that's Property Investor of the Year and HMO Deal of the Year. But yeah, on the evening of the National Development Summit, we'll be talking about the brand ecosystem.
Daytime is. I can't remember what time you're scheduled for, but so it starts at 9:30 in the morning. Yeah. It's like myself and Piotr Ruskinek. In fact, I'm going to be doing less of the speaking. I've got a 5-minute slot that particular day.
Okay.
But Piotr's going to introduce, and I think it's late in the afternoon. I have to have a look at the agenda, but in terms of what you'll be showing for people to learn from,
it is very much brand ecosystem. How you can use this principle of a brand ecosystem to supercharge your not only your brand, your exposure, raising investment, becoming oversubscribed as a product, and also how it ties into the actual end product you're creating. Because
so just to stop you, so on terms of by your brand, it's more attractive to investors.
Absolutely.
So what do you think specifically is, and maybe it's not something specific, but is it the whole of the brand which is of interest?
Well, this is why on the day, it will be about the brand ecosystem. Every part of the ecosystem plays a part in building credibility, building trust, building track record, visibility, exposure, all of them.
Okay, so this is quite tricky to answer, maybe in terms of a percentage, but what difference does it make in terms of raising investment? Does it help? Is it the speed?
It's more about quality conversations with the people that you want to be speaking to. It's about people. If people are investing in you, that it's based on trust, it's based on reputation, it's based on so many things, and very much your brand story, your product, and everything surrounding is all part of that. So it's hugely important that all the kind of investors, developers are thinking in that way.
Look, so join myself, join Stuart Scott. There'll be a host of other presenters and panellists that day. I know Evan Mendonald from Melt Homes is going to be presenting, who's raised funding through Crowd with Us. There's going to be Richard Bowser from Property Investor News Magazine as well. So it's the 5th summit which I've done. I'm very lucky to have this lovely venue. I'm limited to 180 attendees that day, so it may sound like a huge amount of attendees, but in fact it's not. So if you haven't booked your ticket, do book up early. It's my only one-day event in 2019. I've got my monthly meetings, of course, but in terms of the annual events, and people do ask me, am I going to record it? And to be fair, it's not going to be recorded, or unlikely at this stage to be recorded. So you do have to be there live to get the full benefit. So Stuart, any final words for those listeners? I wish you good luck for tomorrow evening.
Thank you.
Maybe I will be back in Brighton before. It's the 3rd time I've been here this year. I love the second video which we did in terms of the hotel.
So on the National Development Summit, when we're talking about the brand ecosystem, when I share that, I'm sharing it to do with co-living, but I'm also sharing it to do with the hotel sector as well. So. And I've got all of the everything about the products, the PR, every element that's made up how we've been able to achieve what we've done. I'll be sharing on the day.
So that's on the 19th of January. Thanks, Stuart. Stuart, how can people find out more about you?
You can go to the website Co-Living Spaces. That's co-livingspaces.co.uk, or you can have a look at one of the hotels. We've got a chain of hotels, but the first one that was released is called One Broad Street. ONE Broad Street. You should be able to find that on Google.
So huge thanks for joining myself this morning, or whether you're listening at a later time, and huge thanks Stuart as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.